States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and then we'll do roll call, please.
Hurston James. Hi, Megan Levine.
Ann Markoulis.
Ramo.
Maria Vanu.
Leah Leone.
Maureen Jimenez.
Okay, next to the minutes. Can I get a motion on the minutes? Angela and Megan? Any comments on the minutes from last meeting? All in favor of approving them? Everybody was here, right? Okay, so that's 7. Okay. Committee reports, we have none tonight, so we will move on to the superintendent's report.
Okay, I'd like to interrupt the meeting for a commercial break. My first portion of the superintendent's report is to actually advertise a performance that will be at our elementary schools on February 1st. And at that point, I am going to keep my mouth shut and let you see the commercial. supposed to tell everyone that after seeing the trailer, please note that they will be in full costume on February 1st. But they are looking forward and they are working hard on their production, and I can't wait. So, okay. You liked it?
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Okay. All right. At this point, I am going to introduce Ms. Susan Poulos, our coordinator for social studies, as she brings up a presentation to show our community just what we're doing in regard to civics K through 12. Susan?
Good evening, esteemed Board of Trustees, Central Administrators, colleagues, and fellow change makers. I stand before you today inspired by a quote that transcends time and circumstance, a testament to the unwavering resilience of the human spirit. Anne Frank once said, "How wonderful it is that no one need wait a single moment before starting to change the world." The profound statement originating from a young girl amidst the darkest of the Holocaust speaks volumes about the universal capacity for positive change, irrespective of age or adversity. In our pursuit for a better world, it is essential to recognize that every individual, regardless of their background, status, circumstances, or age, possesses the power to make a difference. Anne Frank's words serve as a poignant reminder that even in the darkest of times, we need not wait for a specific moment to begin to transform our world. Today, I invite you to explore the theme of civic readiness in our schools, the heartbeat of societal change. Civic readiness involves not only recognizing our rights, but also embracing our responsibilities as active members of society. It encompasses civic knowledge, civic skills and actions, civic mindsets, and civic experiences. Our civic readiness lessons are embedded in the K-12 social studies framework curriculum. The foundational lessons of being responsible members in our community, such as practicing kindness and sharing, begin in our elementary schools. As students move on to the middle school, they dive into understanding of public processes. Finally, in high school, students reach the pinnacle of civic education, where they have opportunities to showcase their civic actions and impact as active members of society. The accompanying slides will shine a spotlight on some of these lessons at each grade level, giving you a clear picture of the vertical alignment of our K-12 civic education program. In kindergarten, the curriculum emphasizes self and others, instilling values of kindness, sharing, and civic responsibility of caring for others. Our Community Helpers Unit features local members sharing their experiences with students. Additionally, our kindergarten students showcased civic action by visiting the nearby senior citizen sunrise, singing holiday songs, and spreading cheer. In the first grade curriculum, My Family and Other Families Now and Long Ago, I've highlighted 2 civic mindset activities. In the first civic mindset activity, students write Mother's Day cards and visit our local post office to mail the letters. It's not just about sending a heartwarming note to mom. It's a lesson in communication and understanding community services. The second activity allows students to honor family members who have served our country. They adorn their school wall with a portrait and a bio of the family member's service. It's a beautiful way to learn about our country's history and honor our local veterans who have fought for our country's freedoms. Also, new to this year, First graders will be conducting a global citizen research project led by our STREAM teachers. Here, they will have the opportunity to begin thinking about their civic roles in the community and beyond as they learn about traits that represent responsible citizenship. The second grade curriculum delves into community and other communities. Here, students take a tour of our local city hall and have the opportunity to meet the mayor and interview her. Here, we also have a student showing off her handmade voting box, which was used to determine the class favorite dessert, the chocolate chip or the brownie. This year, the class favorite was the chocolate chip. In the Adopt an Animal project, students learn the importance of being responsible for others, including our non-human members. Building on the concept of being active and responsible students, third graders do an extensive research project on protecting the local and endangered piping plover bird. Students this year are participating in a poster contest sponsored by the Theodore Roosevelt Bird Sanctuary. The contest theme is Share Our Shores, and the winning posters will be displayed on our local beaches. In grade 4, the social studies framework focuses on New York State local communities and their change over time. It incorporates the study of geography, history, economics, and government. It is a natural segue into the student elections, where students learn about democratic processes and have the opportunity to run for class office. The practical opportunity requires students to demonstrate the democratic processes they have learned, develop leadership skills, and communicate effectively with their peers. It is a very exciting experience for the fourth graders. In our fifth grade curriculum, students actively take part in the required New York State Holocaust Education Initiative. They are immersed in civic lessons through an age-appropriate tour of the Holocaust Museum and Tolerance Center in our own Glen Cove. They gain insight into the distinction between a bystander and an upstander. As a culmination of these lessons, students contribute to the Butterfly Project, crafting butterflies to commemorate the 1.5 million children who lost their lives. The middle school curriculum continues with the social studies framework in grades 6 through 8. We also have 2 civic electives, one in 7th grade and the other in 8th grade. The 6th grade Civic Action Project is featured through the impactful work of the Students Rebuild program created by the Bezos Foundation. This program encourages students to create art to address a yearly theme. This year's theme is the Extraordinary Earth Project, and students will be charged with the task of raising global awareness about sustainability. The 7th grade civics course aims to empower students with knowledge, skills, and the mindset to be active, informed, and responsible citizens. It focuses on building the foundation of civic participation, where students have a strong understanding of government, rights, responsibilities, grassroots movements, and current events. The 8th grade civic engagement capstone course is designed to provide students with a comprehensive understanding of key aspects of civic participation. The central component of the course experience is the culmination in a capstone research project, where students choose a topic they are passionate about and undertake action-oriented initiatives. This approach not only empowers students to take ownership of their learning, but also instills a sense of civic responsibility. On the next slide, I have included a video from one of our 8th grade students that demonstrates this for you.
Hi, my name is Natalie. I am a student of the Savadis, and this video is about my experience taking the civic engagement course. In my 7th grade year, I remember being ecstatic to have a class all about civic engagement. I was always a kid who loved social studies and was genuinely passionate about history and current life. I could talk for hours and hours about any debate or current event. Ms. Savati's class, Civic Engagement, gave me the opportunity to express my mind and grow my knowledge of the world around me. As a young 12-year-old girl, I didn't know much when I first entered her classroom. Unlike English or social studies, civics taught me about the current world and gave me a safe place to discuss, write, and debate about it. This course introduced me to topics like female empowerment, racism, economic differences, political power, poverty, government, and so much more. Through things like organized debates and reenactments of political decisions, the civic engagement course grew my knowledge of the real world while also forcing me to think critically and strive for change. In class, besides debates and reenactments, we'd also read and learn about current issues. This was usually followed up by a few comprehension questions. To end the course, every student creates their own project about whatever current issue they are passionate or curious about. For my project, I chose gender equality as my topic, and having the freedom to do so helped spark a personal connection to this project for me. I personally felt that the purpose of this project was to enable students to extend their learning about current issues through their own perspectives and opinions, because although we all had to complete the same type of project, everyone was free to focus on whatever current issue they resided with the most. Throughout the first few weeks, we students created the base for our project. Eventually, everyone puts the projects together and completes follow-up assignments based on the project. As I mentioned before, my project is about gender equality. The steps I took to complete this project were to research as much accurate information as possible and organize it to fit the criteria of the project. I personally felt that unlike most projects, this one was simple to complete yet so educational. I of course learned about gender equality and its effects around the globe, but I also learned about the many aspects of current issues and why current issues are even a thing. To conclude, the Civic Engagement course introduces young minds to the power of real-life knowledge. We learn about the current world that one day we'll be forced to live in and are taught to voice our opinions in hopes that they'll spark change and give us a better world to live in. Now being an 8th grade student, I feel empowered, full of knowledge, and aware. This course gave me the chance to finally get a taste of the real world, and I wouldn't change that experience for anything. So this is my project, and it's called It's Because of Gender Inequality. So this is the introduction, history, statistics, causes, the impacts from inequality, how it's being addressed, a solution, action, your action, and then citations, and this is usually how our projects are created.
Here I have listed some more of the topics that the students chose to research this year. And on to the high school. The New York State Board of Regents created the Path to Seal of Civic Readiness to emphasize and recognize the importance of civic education and preparedness among students. The goal is to ensure that students are well informed, engaged, and equipped with the necessary skills to participate actively in civic life. The Seal of Civic Readiness is intended to be a symbol of a student's commitment to civic responsibility and their readiness to contribute to society as informed and responsible citizens. The Seal of Civic Readiness could be used as a humanities pathway to graduation or as a standalone seal on their diploma. The inception of this initiative took place during the 2021-22 school year, and our school was among the pioneers in piloting this program. As illustrated in this graphic, our program is steadily expanding with the introduction of additional courses and opportunities aimed at enabling students to fulfill the criteria for the seal. Displayed on this slide are the 9 through 12 social studies framework courses, elective options in legal studies, and civic electives, providing students with the opportunity to attain the seal. These carefully curated courses not only align with the academic requirements, but also serve as a pathway for students to attain the seal of civic readiness. To further demonstrate the effectiveness of our high school civic education program, I've invited 3 students to present an overview of their senior year civic engagement project. The first-hand accounts aims to highlight the practical application of civic knowledge and skills acquired through our courses, showcasing the real-world impact and community involvement that our civic education initiative inspire among our students. Virginia, I'd like to introduce Virginia Graciosi at this time.
Good evening, and thank you for taking the time to listen to a select number of our civic engagement projects. My name is Virginia Graziosi, and starting in June of 2023, I've been volunteering at Horseability. At the time, I was not initially aware that I had the opportunity to engage in such a significant positive societal change. Horseability is a not-for-profit organization that offers adaptive horseback riding and hippotherapy lessons for those with disabilities, both mental and physical. As I've spent more time volunteering, I've noticed that as riders approach the mounting block, their faces light up with smiles, and they just light up. Not only were these riders excited to learn how to work with horses, they felt safe in the hands of their sidewalkers and leaders, thus furthering the benefit of equine therapy. Horseability showed me that the comfort animals can bring to humans was no longer just my personal experience. This is why I'm taking on the role of being an active change maker. Through my civic engagement project, I intend to continue facilitating these equine therapy lessons. However, I'm also looking to fundraise and make a notable donation to support Horseability's programs. My civic engagement project allows me to further support a topic and organization which is important to me. Thank you. Now I would like to invite Rachel up to discuss her civic engagement project.
Good evening. My name is Rachel Aiku. For my civic engagement project, I will be reopening the mentoring program between the high school and the Connolly School, and hopefully expanding it to the Landing School. The program's goal is to set up these children with skills that will take them through their middle and high school careers, into higher education, and into the rest of their lives. The hope is that through this program, the mentors will build big brother and big sister-like relationships and become confidants to these young children who might not be mature enough to handle their emotions and feelings in positive ways. This would produce a society of students who will be able to handle their stress and emotions and would continue this program, passing down their knowledge to future generations. As a student who never talked in elementary school and would often cry over homework stress in middle school, I think this is a needed program to build up the confidence in our younger students. Thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce Phoebe George to talk about her civic engagement project.
Hello, I am Phoebe George, and once again, thank you so much for having us today. And in recent political climate, it is an issue that has been very prominent is the attack on the LGBTQ community, specifically trans youth. In 2023 and 2024, 510 anti-LGBTQ bills were introduced in Congress, and 278 of those were attacking trans people, which in the US are approximately 2% of the population. According to the Trevor Project, allowing trans youth to express themselves as their truest selves drops the rates of depression, anxiety, and suicide. And as important as the larger fight in Congress is, I believe that in smaller communities such as ourselves, we need to do something. We need to open the conversation. The discussion of sexuality and gender to some is very taboo, and through actions such as the talkback panel at the Laramie Project performance, which I hope some of you attended, was speaking with some of our community members and who are part of the queer community and showing that we exist. I am personally transgender. I do not identify with the gender aligned at birth, and seeing this legislation is very terrifying. So having that conversation not be considered taboo, not be considered dangerous to have, is just the first step in creating a more comfortable world for not just people like me, but people everywhere. We need to prove that we have a right to exist so we can fight for ourselves, and hopefully you, the community of Glen Cove, will fight alongside us. Thank you very much.
Virginia, Rachel, Phoebe, I applaud your work and thank you for sharing your project with us tonight, as it clearly demonstrates the success of our civics program and how your impact is creating a larger positive societal transformation. In essence, civic education is not just a tool for change, it is the key to saving our world. It is the embodiment of the belief that collaborative efforts fueled by individuals such as our students or yourselves can address the complex challenges we face, from environmental issues to societal inequality to political reform. All of this would not be possible without the support from our Board of Education, Central Administration, and the Glen Cove community. So as we continue to embark on this journey, let us remember Anne Frank's words and the power they hold. Let us recognize that we not wait for a specific moment to start changing the world. That moment is now, and it is in our hands. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Poulos, and thank you, students. Your work is really inspiring to us as a community. We applauded you, and we continue to applaud you. It is a testament to the Glen Cove School District that you guys are brave enough to come up here and share your passion projects with us and all the work you've done for civic education. Once again, Mrs. Poulos, thank you for your presentation. That was very comprehensive. Do we have any questions from the board? Yes.
It's not really a question. I just really want to thank you for your hard work, Mrs. Poulos, for putting this together for the board tonight. It really means a lot. And I also want to thank the students for sharing your stories. It's really, I love when students come and share their stories with us, and I really want to applaud you, and I thank you very, very much.
Thank you. We saw some of your work when we presented up at the NISBA conference in Buffalo, and just seeing you guys here makes it all come to life.
Yeah, I just want to echo that. Thanks so much. It is great to have you here. It's always good to see what you guys are actually up to and to hear more about our wonderful program. I'm so pleased about the Seal of Civic Readiness and just happy we have it and happy to see it kind of continuing to blossom. So thanks very much. Does anybody else comments, questions? Huh? I don't recall what. Oh, yes. Ms. Levine.
You have a question?
Yeah, Mrs. Poulos, I just had a question. I don't want to like catch you off guard necessarily, but I just feel like now there's such an issue with, I guess people calling it misinformation, but just like lies and different media environments. You know, how is that getting addressed? You know, like media literacy and just an ability to identify fact versus non-fact.
One of the major components in our capstone project is the Informed Citizen Unit, and that's where they evaluate the different resources and media and spin and bias, and they review those. So those are actually embedded inside the social studies framework and are emphasized in our civics courses.
Are there any other questions? Okay, at this point, I'd like to call our Assistant Superintendent of Business for her presentation.
Thank you. Okay, good evening, everyone. I want to start by, first of all, thanking the Board of Education for allowing me once again to present to the community the 2024-25 budget for the school district. But before we start with the budget, I also want to thank the Glen Cove community. They have supported the school district for the past 10, 11 years that I've been in the district. And without their support, a lot of these programs that you have just seen and opportunities that we give our students probably would not be possible. So once again, thank you to the Glen Cove community for their continued support. So, as you know, if you've been following our budget presentations over the years, we start out the first workshop with some very basic details. We'll talk about what is a budget. A lot of people who don't have children or their children are just starting in the school district, this is the first time maybe they're going to vote on a budget. So we'll start with basic. We'll talk about the tax levy limit and what that means. I'll also present to you a draft estimate of a revenue budget, because as you will see, we need to start on the revenue side so we can actually figure how much we can spend through the appropriation budget. We'll talk about the appropriation budget and the three components. So what is a budget? So a budget is a multi-year plan. We don't just budget for this year, next year, but we budget maybe for the following year or two after that. It's a reasonably detailed estimate of revenues and expenses or expenditures at the time of the development of the budget. And it is always changing. What I gave Dr. Rihanna last week has already changed. And this is how it will be for the next probably 2.5 months. It establishes your tax levy, not your tax rate for the community. Tax rate includes your assessed value and things like that. So this just establishes one part of that formula that actually the city uses to come up with your taxes. It's the tax levy. It is subject to future updates, and that's, as you see throughout the year, from time to time we will have budget transfers, which is fine, because again, at the time of the budget, it's only an estimate of what we think is going to happen. It is a working document and will be used to forecast future budgets. So the property tax cap, that came into law in 2011. It was implemented in the first year was 2012, 2013 by Governor Cuomo, and he made it permanent in the 2019-2020 state budget. The tax cap restricts the annual growth of a school district's tax levy to 2% or the rate of inflation, whichever is lower. And we'll talk about what that will be for the 2024-2025 school year. A number of other factors go into calculating an individual school district's tax levy limit, which can bring the legal tax levy up over the 2%. And we'll speak a little bit about that also. This is the formula that is used by all districts in the state of New York. And actually, the city also uses it. They have to report a tax levy, and they use this formula also. And you can see it's very intense. It gives us the reserve amount, if there is any, a tax-based growth factor, which is given to us by the Department of Tax and Finance. We come up with our pilots. We come up with our capital tax levy exclusion. And then the year we're in now, those numbers come out, and we put in what we think the numbers will be for the 2024-25 year. And then we come up with the tax levy limit. If you look at the bottom, total maximum tax limit, which only requires a simple, this legal limit can be more than 2%, which will still require a simple majority vote. So before the tax cap came into effect, how the budgets were developed by districts was everyone presented the business person with their wish list, and everything was added up, and they would come, see how much state aid was being given to the district at that particular point, local revenues, and sometimes they would use reserves if they had them. And that would equal the needed tax levy. But since the tax levy cap came into effect, we really need to start at the revenue side first. So we take all of what we are told will be our state or federal aid, our local revenue, if we want to use our reserves, and then we come up with how much the district can spend and stay within the legal tax levy limit. And that's why tonight I will present and draft revenue budget, because that's where I had to start from to come up with the appropriation budget. So the consumer price index, which is what drives the allowable levy growth factor for the 2024-2025 budget, is 2%. Actually, the CPI is over 2%, but again, for the formula, it's capped at 2%. It's capped at 2% in that formula that we have to use. So some of the areas where the district will generate most of its revenue from is from the tax levy on the community, payments in lieu of taxes, which are our pilots. City School District has what we call a tax on consumer utility bills. That's only in city school districts. We will use some of our reserves, and at this point, we just using a few, but if we have to use more to get us to where we need to be, we will do that. Interest and earnings, which has come back since the last few years when it was really flat, and our state aid, which we did receive our first state aid figures last night from the governor's executive budget run. So again, this is the revenue budget, a draft, estimated, that's all it is, because I don't have a concrete number for the tax levy, because not all that information is in yet. I know what our pilots may be. Then there's tax on the consumer utility bills. You see a lot of the interest and earning is where a lot of an increase is coming from, because we are getting more interest in the funds we have in our bank accounts. State aid, that's again an estimated that came in last night in our runs. We still have to get a final run around April from the governor, and then we'll finalize that. And all the other revenues that we have in the budget are added together as other revenues. And so far, the reserves that we're going to use are two reserves that total $750,000. So right now, a draft budget for the 2024-2025 school year looks like it'll come in around $112 million, a little over that, which is compared to this year that we're in now, which is a little over $4 million increase. And here are some of the pilots. Have you seen? There's only, I'll point out, the last one is a new one that just came on, 135 Glen Street, or it's called Livingston, and that's one of the new pilots. All the other pilots have been here over the past few years. The Avalon Phase 2 dropped off, is on our tax roll and has been on the tax roll for the past couple of years. So the total of the pilots is around $3.6 million at this point in time. Just to give you an idea of, on the appropriation side or the expense side, what's coming in and what's driving the budget on the expense side. So our health insurance came in with about a 13.5% increase, which is more than we have seen, but again, steadily increasing from year to year over the past few years. Insurance, 18%. And when I speak to the insurance company, it's a combination of different things that are happening in the world of insurance, one being the climate, the flooding that's going on with all these bad storms, Child Victims Act, cyber insurance, just liability insurance overall. Remember, all the properties that the district owns, the school buildings, have increased in value. Same like your homes have increased in value. So naturally, the insurance goes up. So again, I think last year we saw about a 20% increase in insurance. We were hoping it would come down a little bit more than it did, but it's not, and hopefully it won't get any higher than that. ERS, that's the retirement system for all the employees other than teachers, administrators, central office people, and that came in with a 15% increase. Teachers retirement system, the TRS, came in with a 10.25% increase. And then we have all the other contractual obligations for our employees, which also include the vendors, our third-party providers, and employees and things like that, that naturally from year to year do go up. So when you look at all these increases, not one thing went down. Some years we've had it where at least one or two things may go down. This year we're not so lucky with that. And then you think about 2% cap in the formula. I mean, there's a lot of percentage that we have to make up. So those are like things that we are focusing on. So the appropriation budget, or that's your expense side of the budget, is broken up in 3 components. And by law, we have to present it to the community in those 3 components. So your capital components, and those are the main areas in your capital component. Your administrative component is the Board of Ed, administration, finance, and insurance, things like that. And the program component, which is the largest component, is where all the teaching, regular ed, special ed, our information technology, health services, transportation, employee benefits, and co-curricular activities are presented. For the next budget workshop on February 7th, we will present the capital component and the administrative component. We will talk about our reserves, how much we have in reserves and what reserves we feel we're going to use. And we'll have an update on state aid, hopefully, see if anything changes. If not, we probably have to wait till that other run comes in from the governor's office, which I said is usually around March, April. I think her budget is due April 1st. So we may have to wait for that. And that's it for tonight. Like I said, it's pretty preliminary at this point, but we have a starting point, and now it's a matter of trying down some of the figures and moving forward from that point on. Does the board have any questions?
Thank you, Victoria.
Oh, that's okay. I knew you stayed out for a reason. No, I'm okay. Any questions from the board? No? You good? Okay. Dr. Rihanna, I'll give you a one-on-one presentation.
Thank you for reviewing that with me earlier, and I'm sure we will be working on the budget in the coming months. But this is that time of year, so at every board meeting from now until the adoption of the budget and then some, Victoria will be providing us information in each of the components and overall what our status will be after state aid and all other factors are finalized. So thank you again, Victoria. Okay. And that is the superintendent's report. I do want to add one little piece. This weekend, Monday, Glen Cove participated in the celebration of and the recognition of the work of Dr. Martin Luther King. I want to thank Alan Hudson, our high school principal, who is also on the committee that puts together this event, along with the city and the school district. Many of our staff members and our students participated. I know it was a day off, but they knew the importance of participating in such an event. It was truly wonderful, and I thank the committee headed by our former administrator from Glen Cove, Cheryl Goodine. She actually was honored for her work over the years, and well-deserved. She's a phenomenal woman who has truly supported the work of Martin Luther King, actually since she was a child. Her father was one of the first people that brought this event to Glen Cove. I also want to thank her for recognizing the support of the school district in helping to move this movement forward and the work that is done throughout the year. So I just wanted to also thank board members who could be in attendance and those who were watching from afar. And all the students, especially those who have been able to help with the live streaming and the actual documenting of this event each year. I truly appreciate all the volunteer work that's done.
Thank you, Victoria, for your presentation. That was fun and exciting as usual.
You're welcome.
Looking forward to the next one. And also, I want to echo what you said, Maria, because I thought it was really a phenomenal ceremony for the MLK Day. It was, and our kids were wonderful too. I mean, the select chorale was like on fire. The drum line was phenomenal, and of course, the Glen Cove TV kids were great. So I really enjoyed it. It was, I recommend it to anybody who hasn't been to it. It's really wonderful. It was
It's a little cold, but no wind, so even Cheryl said it wasn't that bad out there. But it was
looking at the pictures with the people marching in snow and stuff, it wasn't, you know.
Yeah, well, actually, over the years, we did have snow and rain and wind, so we were very lucky, even though the cold of the season finally decided to make an appearance.
Yeah, it was chilly. Okay, so I guess we should move on.
Before we go on, I want to thank Susan Poulos and the students that came this evening. Very informative, and it's just so great to get the feedback from the students as well. Thank you, Susan.
Okay, so our student board member is not with us tonight. We'll move on to public participation on agenda items. If anybody, doesn't look like anybody's here to ask a question, but just putting it out there if anybody has a question. Okay. Instructional report.
Based on the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, I ask the Board of Education to approve Agenda Item 7 on the Instructional Report A, Committee on Special Education, and B, Committee on Preschool Special Education.
Can I get a motion? Ann and Megan, discussion. All in favor? 7, okay.
Upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, a motion is requested for the approval of Agenda Item 8, Business Affairs, A, Finance, 1 and 2.
Can I get a motion? Maureen and Leah, any discussion? I did have a quick question about I was looking at in the treasurer's report, there was quite a lot of checks that have not been cashed yet.
So the first few, maybe 5 or 6, are checks that were made out to the estate of employees that were deceased or are deceased. The thing is that if we void, and I'm going to try to find out how we can maybe try to get in touch with those families, because if we void out those checks, we need to send that money to the state, and they put it in unclaimed funds, okay? So, and people don't even know it goes there. So I think what we're going to try to do is try to get in touch with some of the families and see what happened. Sometimes those estates do take years to go through the process, so I'm not surprised at some of them. And then There were a couple from May, large checks, and they were made out to another school district. And that is because of a legal issue that we're having with that school district at this point. And we'll just leave them there until we have some kind of resolution for that. And then we'll decide whether we're going to void or they will cash those checks. Okay?
Okay, thanks for that clarification.
You're welcome.
Victoria, I appreciate it. Any other questions, or can I get a motion, or to approve? Okay, at 7. Okay,
Upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, a motion is requested for the approval of agenda item 8, business affairs B, operations 1 through 5.
motion. Angela and Megan, any questions? All in favor? 7. Okay, so you want to thank them for the donation?
Are we all in favor yet?
We're in favor. I was
Yeah.
going to just say thanks for the donation.
Oh, okay.
From, well, we have several donations from New York Institute of Technology. We have a donation of a keyboard from a community member, I believe.
Dana Jensen.
Yeah, and also a donation of a Surface Pro 9 device. 5 of them. So thank you very much. We appreciate that very much. Okay, were you going to say something, Maria? Or?
No, that's actually
Oh,
what I
okay.
was going to do.
Sorry, I
Thank
Whatever.
MIT
As long as
and
somebody does it.
others for their donation.
Okay, so moving on to personnel.
Based on the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, I ask the Board of Education to approve agenda item 9A, certified, numbers 1 through 11.
Can I get a motion, Ann and Angela? Discussion? All in favor? Okay, 7.
Okay.
Based on the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, I ask the Board of Education to approve agenda item 9B, classified, numbers 1 through 5.
Can I get a motion? Megan and Lynn, any discussion? All in favor? 7? Okay, you guys fight it out.
Go ahead. I know you want to do this.
I'll let them do it.
Do you want to welcome her?
I was going to.
Please.
So part of that, of what was approved in our certified agenda item, we would like to welcome one of our newer administrators to our administrative team for our coordinator of technology, Ms. Anna Policastro, who's joining us here tonight. Anna, if you don't mind, please standing. So Anna comes to us with a very strong skill set and a strong background and a great passion in making sure that technology is used in a way to empower students, empower their learning, and really allow them to explore passions that truly interest them in a powerful way. So Anna, thank you for joining our team, and it's a pleasure having you join us aboard.
Welcome to the district.
Yes. Welcome, Anna. Yeah, who's,
See.
yeah.
Based on the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, I ask the Board of Education to approve agenda item 9C.
Motion, Lynn and Megan. Any discussion? This is the calendar? No? All in favor of approving the calendar? Okay, 7. Okay, now we have no unfinished business, but we have a policy from the policy committee. It's a first reading of 8130.2. So take a look at that. I'm just trying to open it. Oh my God. Do you guys want to, do you want to talk about it a little bit, Andrew?
So policy 8130.2, this policy is a new policy that's required for all districts and is coming from Department of Labor that really requires all districts to have a policy around workplace violence prevention. There are key elements within this policy that includes building a program, making sure that There is now training for all staff members and making sure that there's annual review. After adoption of this policy, we will be following the additional elements that are required, as other districts are following the same timeline as we're looking to implement the program by March of 2024.
Anybody have questions about that? Okay. So this will be on the next agenda for a second reading.
Okay, under new business.
Under new business, yes, yes, go ahead.
If I may, I meant to say this during the superintendent's report, but I think under new business it qualifies. In regard to our current school year, we have recommended to the board that we use February 13th as a superintendent's conference day. This information will be sent out tomorrow to faculty and staff, as well as to the community, to parents, to prepare, as there will be no school for students on February 13th, 2014. 2024, oh my gosh, I just went back in time 10 years. 2024, I don't know where I got that. So once again, there will be no school for students on February 13th, 2024. 4 of our schools are going to be used as polling sites, and we determined that we would use that day for additional professional development for all staff. Information will be put on our website as well as sent out to our parents so that they are aware and can make arrangements appropriately. Thank you.
Okay, so now we have board comments. Does anybody have anything they want to share, upcoming events or anything?
I'll mention, I know that number of our students from elementary, middle, and high school participated recently in NYSMA, and then all-county music from orchestra, band, chorus. So just congratulations to everyone who participated in that, and all the teachers in the fine arts music department, and all the parents and family members and friends who supported those students. It looked like it was a very good showing. It looked like many students participated, and I congratulate everyone.
Thanks. Okay, everybody's kind of quiet in that, so I guess we'll just move on. Okay, so this is our last public participation, and I don't see anybody. Okay, so going, gone, and I guess that's it. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Ann and Megan. All in favor? Okay, 7. Thank you very much. Good night.